In homes and screens our lights unite, classrooms stretch beyond four walls. Through every challenge day and night, our faith and growth still calls. Parents guide with gentle hands, teachers walk each step inside, together building future lands where values never hide. Though paths may shift and seasons change, our hearts stay close, our goals arrange. A journey set by trust and care, a mission we all share. These are the bridges we create, from school to home, from heart to heart. Learning grows and values shape, in every role we play our part. Work in progress day by day, hand in hand we find our way.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening sa inyong lahat.
Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Ako nga pala si Jean Kenneth M. Ilagan.
Ako si Louis Benedict Ignacio.
I am Albert Alvin H. De Jesus.
This is Dr. Giselle Barion.
This is Telma Maranya.
This is Attorney Dwight Ramos.
I am Dr. Evelyn Songko and I am happy to be with you.
Ikinagagalak ko makasama kayo lahat sa isa na namang makabuluhang kwentuhan dito sa Bridges.
Excited naman ako sa introduction mo, Dr. Louis. And I'm really so excited to be here.
It's really my pleasure to be invited here because this is a very good platform po. Not to be only bridging faith, hope, and love, but at the same time bridging the bond between the alumni and their alma mater.
Kaya tayo merong Santa Cruzan as a culminating activity of our devotional practices of the Blessed Mother, because all devotions to the Blessed Mother should always lead to Jesus.
Ang mga popular na issues sa mga Pilipino, no? Yung mga may kinalaman sa sikmura, mga economic issues, trabaho, inflation. Pero kahit ganyan pa, makikita na ang mga Pilipino nagbibigay ng attention sa mga political issues gaya ng West Philippine Sea issue.
We need our future generations to meet their own needs without sacrificing also yung mga needs natin na nararanasan natin ngayon. So we need this clean air, malinis na hangin, malinis na tubig, yung lupa natin hindi pa poison, then okay pa yung mga karagatan natin, okay pa yung mga kabundukan natin.
O kaya naman dati maayos ang pagsasamahan ng mag-asawa, bigla na lang may nangyayari na hindi nila inaakala at yung kanilang family bond humihina. Pati yung relasyon nila sa Diyos biglang humihina.
I love you. I love Jesus, Holy Spirit, and Mama Mary. Thank you and God bless.
But it's not out there to, use taxpayers. Di pag nalugi yung taxpayers, di mo babawasan yung pagbabayad ng tax.
First and foremost, we embrace change. We need to cultivate our passion for learning and to be flexible based sa Tomasian values ng commitment, competence, and compassion.
Go back to your core. When things are really, really tough, when you're going through transitions, when you're going through changes, go back to who you are as a person and as a leader. And at the same time, yung core values natin as Tomasians dati, perfect din parate as a guide for me. Always have to be competent, you always have to be committed, and more importantly, the compassion side of it is gonna be your edge in any kind of workplace that you're gonna be working.
Happy anniversary to Bridges! Here at Bridges, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love.
Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Bridges for today's episode of the Philippines in Focus, Navigating Security and World Politics. Today, we will explore a vital topic that directly affects our safety and our future: the current global political landscape and its impact on our national security. With our guest today, we will discuss how developments in the local, regional, and international politics influence the security environment in the Philippines, shaping everything from our borders, cyber defenses, to our economic stability. While the terms world politics or international relations might seem complex, our goal is to unpack these issues in a way that is clear and relevant to all Filipinos. Understanding these connections is crucial because what happens in the world can significantly impact our lives at home, from safety and peace to economic growth and national resilience. So, stay with us as we examine these critical issues, providing insights on how local and global events influence our nation's security and our everyday lives. I am Jomar de la Peña, the current National Commander of the University of Santo Tomas Golden Cross and Sabre Alumni Association. I am from the Magsindugo class of 1993, and I am working as an educator in OB Montessori Center for 30 years now, and also with the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary. But with me today is my co-member in the Board of Directors, Ralph Alo. Ralph?
Yes, sir. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Once again, I'm Ralph Alo from UST AB Political Science Class of 2005. I'm also from the UST Golden Corps of Cadets, graduate of Class 2005, and currently working for Union Bank of the Philippines, and of course, a part-time faculty in the College of Commerce of UST. That's it, sir.
Rod, we have another exciting episode today. It's a continuation of our episode last week on cybersecurity, on the cyber domain. But this time at a bigger scale, and we have a big guest today kasi idol natin to. One of the most brilliant minds coming from the University of Santo Tomas ROTC and from the Philippine Military Academy. Siguro, sige, let's proceed.
Yes, sir. Atin to. And of course, tayo pa din ang sponsor.
Yes.
The UST Golden Cross and Sabre Alumni Association, and of course, the UST Alumni Association. But friends, before we proceed and before we introduce our guest for today, please like and share our Facebook page and follow and subscribe to our Tomasian Alumni Community, or TACT or TAC, in YouTube channel, and also the Carl Balita FB page. I'm excited to introduce our guest of honor for today. So allow me to introduce our guest of honor, Brigadier General Ferdinand Melchor de la Cruz. Last post was as the Chief of Staff of AFP Intelligence Command. Prior to that, he also served as a brigade commander of the Philippine Army's 501st Infantry Brigade, which was responsible in dismantling 2 guerrilla fronts in Ilocos, Cordillera, and Cagayan Valley. Brigadier General de la Cruz is an International Intelligence Fellow of the Indo-Pacific Intelligence Forum and has a master's degree in the National Security Administration of the Philippines in Strategic Studies. He was also a cadet officer of the UST Golden Corps of Cadets prior to entering the Philippine Military Academy, and graduated as member of the Tanglao Diwa class of 1992. It is also worth noting that he was also past national commander of the UST Golden Cross and Sabre Association and was a former commandant of the UST ROTC unit. So,
okay. Let's all welcome to Bridges, our very own Brigadier General Ferdinand Melchor de la Cruz. Sir, welcome to this episode, sir.
Thank you very much, NC Jones and Ralph.
Yes, sir.
Glad to be here and honored by your invitation.
Thank you, sir, for gracing our episode today. So, sa atin po today, we will talk about national security. So, the first question siguro, ano po ba ang sakop ng national security, sir?
Well, national security as defined by, actually by sa ating, by Secretary Almonte before as an NSA, yung it's a state or condition wherein the people's welfare, government,
institutions and way of life, sovereignty, and territorial integrity are well protected and enforced. So that is the definition of national security. And it goes beyond the traditional notion natin, war fighting lang. Particularly now that there are, we call that non-traditional threats to national security, which includes yung environment, yung drugs, even yung mga illegal, yung mga immigrations, all others na which we consider non-traditional threats other than war.
Okay. So, there are two, isang traditional threat tapos non-traditional. Doon muna tayo siguro, sir, sa traditional threats. Ano po ba ang concept ng traditional threats?
Well, as far as the Philippines is concerned, as far as our nation is concerned, we are confronting internal security problems and, of course, external security problems.
Okay.
When we talk of internal security, alam na natin yan, yung within sa loob ng ating bansa na threat. And external, of course, yan na yung threat na mga abroad transatlantic na mga threats.
So outside na po ito. So okay. Isahin po natin yung internal threats if you may, sir. Ano po ba yung mga internal threats sa atin?
Well, the most parang talaga naging focus natin actually for almost 5 decades now, yung communist terrorist threat. We call them the communist terrorist groups, which we have been fighting for more than 5 decades now, which is started 1969 pa actually, and 1968 to be exact, yung Communist Party of the Philippines. And 1969 yung kanyang armed group. And up to this time, we still feel it. However, to a lesser extent na. Although naging dati parang sine curve yan na tumataas, bumababa a certain time. Pero at least finally, by this time, we can safely say na as far as their armed component is concerned, medyo talagang they are on a significant decline if talagang insignificant na talaga sila. Okay?
So the NPA threat is insignificant na. Opo.
Well, that is still relative. Depende sa sitwasyon. Pero sa ngayon, we can safely say that it is in insignificant level because of the programs of the government also. Kasi siyempre, meron palaging kaakibat na kanyan na factors. So dahil sa naging program ng government, bumaba sila significantly, and that we will be discussing later. Okay? So, para hindi tayo masyadong maligaw, other internal security threats, aside from this communist problem that we have, we all know that we have that separatist movement, okay? Islamist separatist movement, particularly dun sa southern Philippines. Kasi even before the Spaniards came, some of our brothers believe that andun na sila, and then they believe na hindi sila supposedly kasama dun sa pagbebenta sa Pilipinas. So that's why some of them believe na up to this time na meron yung secessionist movement. At tapos nahaluan ito ng extreme Islamist influence, na because they know that our government is basically a Catholic government, which is foreign for them dahil nga from our conquistadores na mga Espanyol, which introduced Christianity to us. For them, syempre, alam mo naman na yung Christian is parang hindi yan yung kumbaga kalaban ng, hindi naman kalaban, but hindi sila pareho ng paniniwala ng Islam, which they have been advocating. They believe even before when the Spaniards came. So yun. So aside from the separatist movements natin, andyan na yung mga extreme Islamist movement influenced by yun nga, by dati-dati yung mga Al-Qaeda, mga ISIS, are really advocating for a religious war. So, in fact, even sila mismo, yung Shia at saka Shiites na sila nag-aaway because sa kanilang paniniwala. Okay? So, yun nga, those are the traditional na nalalaman natin and then came yung mga kidnap for ransom groups, and then came yung drug problems natin, yung drug lords, drug cartels that even are influenced by foreign drug cartels. So nandun na. So ito ngayon yung talagang pinagkakaabalahan ng inyong kasundaluhan at kapulisan natin. So those are the internal security threats. Of course, as to the external, very well know na talagang china-challenge yung ating claims on some parts dun, particularly sa West Philippine Sea natin. And you know the story. Nagiging very ko naman na yan to elaborate. Pero we can elaborate siguro anong dahilan and dynamics of that. And what is happening also, kahit hindi tayo directly involved, because of geopolitics, of course, merong effect sa atin. Like, parang bukas o within the week, magtataas na naman yung diesel or gasolina. So, that is because of the conflict happening outside our country, but we are affected. So, yun. Those are the other threats, actually.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sa experience nyo, sir, as brigade commander dito sa atin, ang NPA sa ngayon, sir, ay saang area po sila nakikita?
Well, when I was still in the active service, there were only 5 parang active na guerrilla fronts, pero kaya nga, when before I stepped down, 2 or 3 ang na dismantle doon sa area ko. So,
sir.
mostly now is Samar, and dati Cordillera and Cagayan, because those are the traditional, actually, traditional hotbeds. If you recall, Joms and Ralph, and to the listeners, the communist terrorist movement started dito sa Central Luzon, di ba? In 1969, started sa mga Tarem, yung NPA. So, naging lumakas sila dyan sa nag-start sa Cagayan Valley because of the yung Sierra Madre, yung conditions of insurgency na nandun lahat, ingredients of insurgency nandun lahat, poverty, yung terrain, yung kahirap ng mga hanap buhay ng tao, bagyuhin, walang economic development, and then oppress yung mga tao dahil yung mga relationship ng mga tao those times are landlords and tenants, things like that. Yan, and then Bicol, and then Samar, kung saan talagang nahihirap din talaga yung tao, so they didn't have any alternative but to join yung mga immediate na nakaka-visible sa kanila. Kasi even government during that time is hardly felt. Kasi nga, because of their distance, proximity, mas nararating sila ng mga propagandists na talagang gusto nilang itapol down yung government natin during those times. Kaya talagang for a while sumikat din talaga ang Communist Party through the New People's Army and supported by the National Democratic Front. So I hope our listeners know the difference, anong relationship ng Communist Party sa New People's Army sa National Democratic Front.
Yan, sir. Explain po natin sana, sir. Ano po ba ang the difference dun sa tatlo?
Well, the Communist Party of the Philippines is actually it's a legal organization. It's based on theoretical yung communism nga, form of government. However, for them to be able to change the system of government that we have, which is democratic republic government, they have to overthrow our government through an armed revolution. Kaya na-create yung New People's Army.
New People's Army. Okay.
So, ngayon, yung People's Army is, of course, illegal. Kasi armado, namamatay,
Yes, sir.
pumapatay ng tao, terrorist nga eh. Kaya
Yes,
homeless
sir.
terrorist group. And for them to survive and exist, nagawa yung National Democratic Front, which was actually patterned, of course, yung United Front Works ng China na ina-apply sa atin ito na yung mga nagiging effective sila kasi organisado yung frente. Kapag na-organize ang frente, very well secured lahat ng kahit na anong illegal na ginagawa nila na itatago through the National Democratic Front. That's why we have may mga legal organizations tayo na actually the members do not know that they are being used, unfortunately. Tapos kapag na-warningan sila, andun na yung sinasabing red tagging.
Red tagging sila. Opo.
Yes. Pero actually, the reality is, hindi naman tayo yung nagre-red tag. Sila yung nagre-red tag. If we see, actually, there was a time when Joma mismo ang nagsabi na these organizations, bayan mo na, blah, 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 and others, are our allied organizations. So siya na mismo inamin niya during that. And kita nyo naman ang galaw ng mga sectoral representatives natin na kung paano sila magsalita against our government. Well, they are well-meaning sectors actually. Sa totoo lang, they are well-meaning sectors. And yun actually ang dapat na i-organize din natin. And that is the very reason why the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, yung NTF-LCAP, was created. Kaya significantly, Joms, Ralph, and to our listeners, significantly bumaba ang number ng disgruntled na mga kanayunan natin. Na yun yung dahilan kung bakit sila nag-revolt against the government, nag-aaklas. Noong nagkaroon ng mga programa na na-realize nila na hindi pala naman sila pinapabayaan ng gobyerno. Sandali. Maaring our listeners may ask, bakit? Anong difference? The difference before was, parang ngayon lang nagkaroon ng strategy na lahat ng agencies, for that matter, should support this anti-insurgency campaign. If you remember, Joms and Ralph, during our times when we were cadets, parang sundalo at pulis lang
Yes, sir.
ang involved dyan sa gera na yan.
Apo.
And then, kapag di ba, may mga, sa ating mga CMO operations na nasubukan nyo rin makihalubilo sa mga tao, ang sinasabi nilang problema nila, hindi naman na yung abuso ng sundalo, hindi naman na abuso ng pulis, kundi yung social injustice, tsaka yung mga economic problem. At kapag kinakatok natin yung mga LGUs, nagagalit pa sila sa atin. Sabi nila, hindi nyo problema yan. Hindi namin, bakit pinapakialaman nyo kasi? So, ganon ang nangyayari. So, even, yes, Sarah, please.
Sorry sir, speaking of CMO, para po maintindihan ng ating mga audience, no, ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ng CMO? Para mawala yung misconception kasi ng mga tao na pag sinabing military, puro military operations na lang. Maybe sir, we can share what CMO stands for. At ano yung naiko-contribute nito sa ating community building?
Okay, CMO stands for Civil Military Operations. Actually, in other countries, it's called Civil Military Cooperation. Okay? This all started as a strategy during the time when pinaperceive ng tao na kalaban nila ang gobyerno at the government is and the oppressors are represented by the military and the armed forces and the police. Kaya napalayo yung damdamin ng mga tao. So nung there was a time in our history na takot yung mga civilian sa sundalo, sa police. Kasi ang impression nila is, ayun nga, merong nga hablutin, may kukulong, may torture.
Yes.
So that's why we strategize on winning back the hearts and minds of the people. Kasi sa insurgency war, kailangan ang naging center of gravity yung people support. Kaya sila naging popular before, tinatago. Yung mga NPA, I'm referring to the armed NPA, tinatago sila ng mga tao, mga kanayunan ng tao. mga masa, kasi kamag-anak din nila. Okay? So, tinatago, pinapakain. So, naging kwan sila. Buhay. Actually, even up to this time. No? The reason why they are surviving is because people used to support them. Pero nung nagkaroon tayo because of civil-military operations na may mga projects, nagkaroon ng napalapit yung damdamin ng tao sa sundalo and police. Pero bakit meron pa rin? Kasi it was not enough. Kasi dito kaya create yung NTFL CAP, it has to be a whole of nation approach. Hindi pwedeng military lang. Insurgency problem is a political problem which cannot be solved by a military solution alone. In fact, nagmumultiply lang yan. The political problem can also be solved by socio-economic solution actually, which cannot actually isa lang ang armed forces and police doon. Yung puno lang actually, yung bulk should be yun na nga, the government and other agencies. Kaya na-create yung NTFL CAP. And it was very effective. Kaya significantly ang daming sumurrender, ang daming bumaba. And then nakita nyo sa mga television, sa mga Senate hearings natin, even yung mga hardcore na mga leaders, nagsasalita na sila against that organization. Unfortunately, malakas pa rin ang infiltration nila in some other sectors na kapag nagsasalita na ng truth itong mga taong ito, sila pa ang nakakasuhan ng red tagging, sinungaling, binayaran.
Yes po.
So, ina-align sa politika. These are all works of the National Democratic Front.
Ito na. And they're
ganda,
using...
no? Very ideal yung organization. Sana, alam mo ang solution sa ating government.
Ano po ba?
Magkaroon din tayo ng... Kasi yun nga, if you relate it also, nakopya yung United Front building na yan through the United Front Works of the Communist China. Yun yung ginagawa din nila ngayon. Kaya nila kinoko-op lahat ng agencies para yung resistance eventually, pag meron silang gagawin, hindi ganun ka. Pero we go to that later. Balik tayo dun sa ating on the insurgency side. Kaya napakaganda nung naging effect nung whole of nation approach. Kasi there was a secretary na non-political secretary na talagang inimplement niya. Hindi siya takot eh. Kasi he was a local government chief din, secretary. Hindi siya takot kahit na upper class pa niya yung mayor. Talagang sinususpend niya kung hindi nagawa. Kasi nga, hindi kasi siya politiko. So talagang well-meaning. Lahat ng mga agencies during that time were forced to contribute. Which nung tinyente tayo dyan sa RAP, wala yan.
No.
Hindi, galit na galit sa atin noon yung LGUs kapag kinakatok natin sa kanila, sir, may problema po sa ganito, sa irrigation, ganyan, yan yung problema na. Bakit nyo kasi pinapakialaman yan? Hindi nyo naman dapat problema yan.
Yes, sir.
So, ganun.
So now, policy siya, yung whole of nation approach in solving the insurgency. And it's really effective kasi nakita natin talagang dwindling na yung numbers nila, no? What's the last straw, kumbaga, sir, para medyo effective na at mawala na talaga si insurgency problem?
Well, continuity of the program and the reason why the people are galit sa gobyerno. Good governance.
Good governance. Yes, sir.
Yun lang naman. Kasi pag isa lang ang point ko, we kept on saying before that yung insurgency is caused because of poverty. But sometimes it's the other way around. Poverty is caused by insurgency also. Kasi nga, nawawala ng economic activity.
Correct. Walang gusto mag-invest.
Walang gusto mag-invest. During the time na ni FVR, ang daming na invite na foreign investors. Nagsialisan, Colgate Philippines, Colgate Palmolive, Westinghouse, nagsialisan, Proton. Why? Because of the threat of mga insurgents. Plus, yung mga maiingay na semi-legal, which is yung mga union, na inoorganisa yan ng kaliwa para mag-ingay. So, they'd rather go to other countries na walang ganun. Kaya nga sumikat ang Vietnam, sumikat ang Cambodia, inunahan tayo, Malaysia. Those were the factors. Nauna tayo actually na nakuha yung mga industries na yon. Kaya nga ginawa yung, di ba? Yung sa South
economic
Manila.
Zones. Opo.
Yes. South Manila.
Special economic zones. Yeah.
Ang dami upper class mga tayo nagtatrabaho sa Westinghouse before, nawala ng trabaho. Ang ganda.
Yes po.
So
Sir,
those are the things. Yes.
Ang question ko, no, sir, we are the country that has the longest running armed communist insurgency in the world. Or maybe one of the. So ang tanong ko, saan po ba tayo nagkulang? Or ano pa kaya ang pwede natin gawin para totally ma-eliminate na natin itong armed insurgency na to? Ngayon, if we look at history, for example, sa Sri Lanka, the Tamil Tigers, what they did to remove this insurgency is to declare an all-out war. Ayun po ba ang dapat natin gawin? Kasi hindi mamatay-matay eh. Although tama po kayo, lumiit na, kumonti na sila, mahina na sila, but the threat is still there. So, saan po ba tayo nagkulang? Bakit nandyan pa rin po sila despite, whole of nation approach, good economic numbers, everything? Yun.
Well, if only to be optimistic, Ralph, no? Meron tayong, the way ahead actually is okay sana. But the thing is, well, buti na sa bagay, retired na ako. I am not speaking on behalf of my organization, institution. No? Akin lang to. We have a problem on our politics. At sinabi na yan ni Lee Kuan Yew. Even Malaysia. Yung insurgency ng Malaysia ended in 1989. At dun lang sila nag-start. Pero anong ginawa nila? Talagang kinordon nila yung communist nila. Because they are identified. Mga Chinese communist eh. Hindi naman pwedeng magkaroon ng communist na Malay. Bawal din sa kanila, reliyon. So, sinanksyon ako yun. Parang kinordon sila. And then, something happened. At during that time, wala pang internet, walang social media. Kayang i-control. Walang lumabas. But we cannot do it now. Hindi mo pwedeng i-contain ng isang area na kumbaga i-sanction mo or kaya i-cordon mo na bawal yan, di ba? Human rights.
Yes, sir.
So, and hindi mo pwedeng itago yan because of meron na tayong social media. So, things happen now because of our freedom also. Well, that's the price of our freedom.
The price. Yes, sir.
Well, happy for us. Kaya lang,
balansin mo. Opo.
Kaya lang, syempre, hanggang ganun lang tayo. Ano nagsasuffer? Ang kawawa, yung mga ninuno natin. We are enjoying now. We are free. Pwede nating mura-murahin yung presidente natin, vice president natin. However, tinatawanan tayo. Buong bansa. But tatawanan natin sila. Hindi sila ganito kalibre, ka-free as us. So, yun naman. That is the trade-off. Kumbaga sa economics nga, Joms, is opportunity cost, di ba?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So, natakil natin si communist insurgency. Baba tayo, sir, sa South. Yung Muslim extremism or armed groups naman doon. Ano naman, sir, ang kwento natin doon?
Okay, that started also from being separatist din, di ba? Yun, sina Nur Miswari. But si Nur Miswari kasi, parang naging co-professor ni Joe Masison yan in UP eh. Kaya naging radical sila. And during that time, hot issue yung Jabida massacre. Kaya nagkaroon ng Mindanao Islamic Movement na eventually naging MILF. At ginamit nila yung martial law as a reason. Okay, so dumami because of propaganda also, pinasama yung administration. Kumbaga, naging cycle. Kailangan gawin ng administration yan dahil ganito na sila. Pero ang pinapalabas nila, ganito sila kasi ganun ang administration. So, it worked well for them. However, there are also other sectors who would say na kung wala yung sistemang ganon, ibang-iba na yung sistema nating gobyerno. Baka wala na sa atin yung parts of Mindanao, komunista na rin tayo. So, things like that. Pero, because of politics din, marami pa rin bumabalik sa era na yon na sinasabing masama, pangit, even yung mga kabataan natin ganon ang pinapaunawa nila. Actually, it is more, bottom line is, gusto nilang change the form of government.
Apo.
Well, corruption issue, it's always there. Lahat naman ng bansa may corruption issue. So, at saka, surprisingly, lahat naman ng mga naging presidente natin na ang naging plataforma nila, programa nila is to stop corruption. Nung sila naman ang naupo, ganun din naman ang issue. Ganun lang.
Yes, sir. So, linawin ko lang, sir. Di ba, it started off MNLF, the Moro National Liberation Front. And then,
Mindanao Islamic Movement, MIM.
Opo. Tapos,
and then, nagkaroon ng MNLF. Tapos, in 1979, nagkaroon ng MILF.
MILF, Moro Islamic Liberation Front.
Kasi itong MILF is more on, theocracy talaga. Kumbaga, yung si Normi Suarez kasi has the tendency to be secular pa that time.
Okay.
Yung si Kwan that time, si Hashim Salamat, sa kanya talaga yung Islamic State talaga.
Islamic State.
Islamic State. Yung parang model sana ng Afghanistan, gano'n yung concept nila. Anyway, naging successful naman tayo na nagkaroon ng talks with them, MNLF, MILF. However, there was a group, yung Al-Harakatul Al-Islamiyah. Itong these are religious groups na napaka-extreme religious. Yung Hector Janjalani, itong mga to, Joms, mga talaga, aral sila sa abroad, Egypt and Libya, things like that. And there were also Muslim brothers who volunteered for that Russo-Afghan war. Kasi, I'm not sure, pero I think it is written in the Quran na kapag at stake na yung religion, pag ikaw ay isang true Islam, kailangan ipagtanggol mo yung Islam. So there were volunteers who joined that war. Kasi jihad na yan eh. Holy war na yan.
Okay.
You have the responsibility or the moral obligation to participate.
To aid a brother in distress, kumbaga, sir, parang gano'n.
Yung time na yun, kasama si Normi Suarez and older than them, na-train yan sa Libya. At sila yung mga naging leaders. Kaya magagaling. And then going back dito sa Abu Sayyaf, yung Al-Harakatul Al-Islamiyah, religious extremists sila dati. Pero nung nasubukan nila na mag-kidnap ng foreigners, nakita nila ang ganda ng lucrative business. That's why nagkaroon ng grupo in the guise of religious extremists, naging hanap buhay sa kanila ang pagkikidnap ng foreigners.
Ito na ba yung ASG?
Abu Sayyaf group.
Abu Sayyaf group na to. Pero branded sila as KFR, Kidnap for Ransom.
Yes. And then came another extremist na influence naman ng Jemaah Islamiyah, which is influenced by Al-Qaeda, which is also an affiliate of ISIS. Yun na yung nandun sa Marawi Siege.
Yung Maote group.
Maote is just the Philippine Philippine representatives of those yung ISIS in the Philippines. But yung Jemaah Islamiyah, yung Al-Qaeda, it started, kaya nga natin, di ba? In-invade natin yung Abu Bakar sa Central Mindanao in 2000.
2000, yes.
Kasi may mga reports na during that time na marami ng foreign train doon foreigners. And these foreigners are yung mga suicide bombers. Di ba nagkaroon tayo ng maraming suicide bombing dito sa Pilipinas?
Yeah po, opo.
And when we talk of suicide bombing, kasi iba yung paniniwala nila na kapag sila namatay sa gerang ganun, holy war, they will go straight sa heaven, riding in yung horse, white horse. Tapos sasalubungin sila ng 73 virgins, something like that.
Okay. So yun talaga, yun yung paniniwala. Sir, yung ano naman yung BIFF, pero kasing
well, that's also another form ng kanya.
Another group lang din.
Sa Central Mindanao. Pero galing yan sa MILF.
Okay.
Galing sa MILF. And ang tendency kasi ng other groups, kapag nakapag peace talks with another group na hindi sila nabiyayaan, they will form another group para mapansin din.
Offshoot
or
lagi siya.
Hindi sila agree dun sa naging covenant sa peace accord.
Okay.
Agreement dun sa peace accord.
So, ang ano sir, is the BARM a byproduct of the peace talks? Tama po ba?
Yes.
So, the Bangsamoro, ano ba? BARM. Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao. Yan po ang naging outcome so that there's peace in that area sa south natin.
Relative peace.
Relative.
Depende
so,
pa rin.
Is there still a threat? Ongoing pa rin ba yan? Ano bang status sa ngayon, sir?
Okay, I'm not really sure on the development sa Mindanao kasi mostly nandito ako sa Luzon. Pero I think nandun naman at way ahead lahat ng mga leaders doon. Particularly the LGUs. Ito na kasi ang factor, Joms. Ang kagandahan nito, to our listeners, very much involved na ngayon yung local government units. Unlike before, natakot sila sa mga armado. Ngayon, ang mga namumuno na are fresh, mga attorney, mga schooled na ng mga Muslim brothers natin. Talagang, tsaka bata na. Nawala na sa kanila actually yung mga traditional na gusto pang na ayaw nila talagang maging under sarwang, ang tawag nila sarwang tao. For them, we are a foreign government ruled by conquistadores na Espanyol. Ayaw nilang maging De La Peña, ayaw nilang maging De La Cruz, apelyido. Yes, at least yung alo, medyo native pa yung dating. Ano?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, so
okay
far,
sir. Oo. Sige, Ralph, go ahead.
So far, we are so focused on the local threats, right? But before we go to the external threats, maybe, sir, one particular area of focus that you would want to highlight para mabawas-bawasan or lumiit pa lalo ang internal armed threats sa ating bansa. And then after that, we go to the external threats.
Again, if I may, on my personal view, and sinabi rin ni General Magalong yan, it's still good governance. Kapag hanggat ang tao kasi is, nakikita nila na yung nawawala ng pag-asa because of, nakakalumural kasi kung minsan, even sa atin, tayo nagbayad ng tax, tayo nagsusweldo ng ganito, and then only to realize na yung ibang tao, yung ibang posisyon, yung kinikita ko na for 37 years in my service, yung binigay sa akin na pay, na retirement pay, pension, and yung commutation, is ganito amount lang compared to somebody who sits in a position with 3 years lang. Kung ilan sasakyan na nabibili niya kung saan-saan siya nakakapunta, yung mga anak niya nakapag-aral kung saan-saan abroad. So yan yung minsan and then ito I'm talking of an average income earner na ako, no? How much more dun sa mga ko natin? Oh, yeah, sa below.
Yung mga below.
Na talagang wala nang alternative. Plus aside from the economic conditions that they have, yung social conditions. oppress sila sa tao, sa kung sino. Buti nga na wala na, Joms and Ralph, and our listeners, wala na silang masabi regarding military abuse or police abuse.
Opo.
Wala na silang paso na actually. Dati, namamayagpag sila pagdating sa ganyang issue. Diyan natatakot ang sundalo at police na gumalaw dahil human rights, blah, blah, blah. Pero ngayon, wala na silang ma-charge kasi naging professionalized na tayo.
Professional na talaga. Okay.
Yes.
Modernized na rin. Okay.
And
siguro na,
one thing good there, which I would like to emphasize, is the military, armed forces, is not composed of active military alone.
Yes, sir.
That is where your presence should be felt. As reservist.
As reservist, no.
Yes. Kasi the active service cannot do it alone.
Yes, sir. Yun talaga yung whole of nation approach talaga.
Yun, whole of nation.
Whole of nation, tayo as citizens, what is our role, di ba? Kasi para mawala yung, ang sa akin nga, sir, is if government services are not available, then it is our duty as citizens to extend that help, no? Sa mga community outreach programs natin.
Actually, di ba, for the information of our listeners and our alumni leaders, kaya nga natin na-conceptualize yung Adapt a Barangay doon somewhere else in Calangit. Actually, my vision sana there is one barangay, maging the people, yung mga maliliit na mga bata will grow na eventually, ang sasabihin nila, this is Barangay UST. Kasi ang tumulong sa kanila, ang buhay nila, University of Santo Tomas through our association.
Yes, sir. Yan.
Kasi tayo naman ang makalat. At sa'yo, di ba, being Montessori, ang dami mong na-donate, nagpagawa ka pa ng school. Tapos, ang I even proposed yung foster parents program na kapag meron silang may mag-aako sa kanila dito sa Manila, itutur natin sila sa UST. For a while, kahit na 1 or 2 days lang, ipapasyal sila ng mga mayayamang pamilya na Tomasians dito sa Manila o patirahin sa bahay nila. Napakalaking bagay nun.
Malaki, sir. Yan ang mga next phase ng atin. Ngayon, sir, I think mag-grade 5 na yung nung sinimula natin. Nasa grade 5 na yung tinutulungan natin dyan. So, tuloy-tuloy lang yan, sir. As a whole of, yan yung concept talaga ni sir na whole of nation approach. Everybody pitches in para lahat tayo umangat. Okay, sir. Palagi ko na-cover na natin yung internal threats. Ito na, ang medyo meaty. External threats na po tayo. Sir, ano ba ang current situation natin with our external threats?
May I throw back the question to you. Yung kanina, are we at war with, of course, a nation, China?
With China, alam naman natin. Are we? Kami, well, sir, parang nabaligtad Kami ang sasagot.
Hindi kasi ganito, ano? Ang notion, lalong-lalo sa mga common na tao, ang notion natin of war is yung barilan, yung bombahan, tulad na nangyayari sa Iran-Israel ngayon.
Opo.
But there is what we call an irregular warfare. It doesn't have to be that. There are even provinces in the Philippines na ayaw nila na giyerahin natin ang China. And that is their very aim. Sabi ko nga sa'yo, yung sinabi ni Mao Zedong, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Nangyayari na yan. And they have that united front works.
Okay.
Institutionalized sa kanila yan. Yung sa communist China. Communist China. Lahat ng agencies, merong united front works to co-op lahat ng mga sectors para maging hindi, kapag meron silang plinanong gawin, madali na lang lahat. Going back sa atin, nagkaroon ng sister cities, imagine nagkaroon ng mga vloggers na na-investigate sa Senate to the point na sinasabi nila na hindi lang naman China ang shower. Pati nga Pilipinas, di ba, nadulas siya na pati Pilipino, nagkukuhan din. Yung bomb, ano yung tawag doon, Joms? Yung
Blast.
blast.
Oo.
Wala dula siya. Kasi, probably that guy is being paid.
Yes, sir.
Defend China. And ganon. And during those time, may time na there were vloggers na in-invite sa China. Full, all expenses paid. These are the things, yung propaganda factor. Ito na. That is why we need you now, even as, particularly the Coast Guard. Why? Kasi our Navy cannot act on the ICAD activities at the West Philippine Sea. When we say ICAD, yung mga gray operations, like ICAD is illegal, coercive, aggressive, and deceptive operations.
Okay.
Lahat yun, ginagawa nila. Kapag nag-react ang Philippine Navy doon, that is an act of war.
Okay.
That will give them a reason
to retaliate.
That's why Coast Guard should be there.
Kaya White Hull diplomacy ang ginagamit natin.
Yes.
Ang Coast Guard ang pumuprota.
Even sila, they are projecting that yung mga nag-ooperate din are Coast Guards, pero actually, they're not. Yan nga, auxiliaries. Kaya nga, dapat auxiliaries tayo rito.
Apo.
Yan yung nagiging challenge ko sa'yo. Ano ang well-meaning na project natin bilang auxiliaries?
Apo. Yes, sir.
Yun ang we can start by merely educating yung awareness actually ang kailangan natin ngayon. We have to make our people aware. Kasi yun na, united nga sila eh.
Yes, sir.
Samantalang tayo, hindi tayo united. Nag-aaway-aaway nga tayo sa Senado on our view on this.
Yes, sir. Even sa social media, di ba?
Social media, sorry, I'm sorry for that. Hindi ko sinasabing, siguro, what I was trying to tell is, nag-aaway during those hearings because of different views. Pero
so you're saying
these different views, these differing views are actually work of the propagandists.
Part of the plan. To divide us, to divide and conquer, no?
Exactly.
Oo. So the mere fact na merong nagsaside sa kanila, merong nagsisimpatya sa kanila, that's it. Yun na yung ano nila. Yung information, nga no, bakit sila? Tama naman sila. Pag gano'n na yung sentimiento mo, tas Filipino ka, parang oops.
Tapos inuunahan nila tayo na, yung kino-complain sa kanilang social media, it's called lawfare. There is what we call now a lawfare. Yeah. Talagang battle of kanyan, demandahan.
Lawfare.
Just to impress on the international community na meron ding mali ang ginagawa ang Pilipinas.
Yung battle of narratives, sir.
Ang problema, yun, exactly, battle of narratives. The thing is, wala nagtatanggol sa ating iba, kundi tayo. Unlike them, kahit Pilipino, pinagtatanggol sila.
Yun na.
Those are the works of, that is a united front work.
That's the united front. So economics, sa local government, sa social media, sa cyber domain.
Lahat ng sector.
Yung non-traditional kasi ang nakita nila, yun ang sector na. Okay. How do we counter it? Yun, information. Tama ba?
Pinaka-importante is awareness on our people.
Okay.
That's why you cannot rely on the active armed forces alone.
Yes, sir.
Especially so, may relationship yan eh. Our listeners, masyado tayong natali sa internal security operations, yung armed forces I mean, to the point na ang focus and training natin, even our intelligence, puro internal security ang kalaban. Kaya nung nagkaroon ng problem sa West Philippine Sea, I'm not saying that we were not prepared, but we may not have been adequately prepared to confront. Kasi even intelligence din, walang command and control, kanya-kanya. So even our equipment, masyadong natali sa pang-insurgency. And going into political side of it, noon kapag nag-procure tayo ng mga armaments, ng mga eroplano, ang daming maingay na sinasabi, bakit yan ang priority? Ang daming naghihirap na tao. Bakit hindi education? Bakit hindi agriculture?
Yes, sir. Militarization ang sinisigaw nila.
Militarization.
Oo.
Korino, corrupt na.
Yes, sir.
Martial law. Yun ang pinaka-paborito nilang kanya, martial law.
Mhm.
And sino nagsasuffer ngayon? Tayo kasi, well, hindi natin pwedeng masisi ang ating armed forces kasi kung lives lang at training pag-uusapan and exposure, kaya natin.
Opo.
Pero, siyempre, lamang tayo actually pagdating sa training. That's also our advantage na meron tayong internal na kinoconfront. Pagdating sa experience, lamang tayo. Pero, example, North Korea, sending their troops sending people
Russia.
sa Russia.
Opo.
What is the purpose? Aside from economic, natitrain yung mga tao nila. Na eventually, pag nangyera sila kung sino man, merong experience yung mga
May
sundalo.
lessons learned sila from there.
Experience itself.
Opo.
Actually, if talking of China and the US kung magigera, yun ang kulang ang China. Maaring at para sila, kaya nila at para pagdating sa equipment, pero sa experience, pagdating sa command, sa experience sa mga sundalo nila, doon sila tayo.
Okay.
Doon sila
So,
matatalo.
yun ang sinasabi niyo, sir. Even if they have, ngayon, they have aircraft carriers, they have all these armaments, no? Halos, ano ba, pangalawa na ba sila sa may pinakamarami? But you're saying, that it's the experience really of
Yes, still experience.
Oo. Still
Still
experience. Okay.
Kasi
On our end, sir, okay, sige, sir.
Even yung kahit na may equipment sila, but kung wala silang experience on going into that kind of war, hindi nila alam paano gamitin, walang jointness, wala, medyo that will only magiging futile lang yung operations nila. And probably that's the reason why that's the reason why they would like to retake Taiwan.
Okay, yan nga, sir. If, di ba, they have intentions of retaking Taiwan, how will that affect us?
That's what I call...
Madadamay ba tayo dyan?
That's what I call geopolitics, NCN.
Geopolitics. Ito na, si geopolitics.
Ito na.
Opo. Masasama tayo.
Una-una, we are a well-known ally of China. Of US.
Yes, sir.
Pangalawa, tayo yung nakaharap. Batanes is an island na nakaharap sa Taiwan.
Yes, sir.
Mabulis. Kung meron ka mang dapat i-occupy na key terrain, dapat ma-occupy mo muna yan bago mo invade yung objective, di ba? Nasa doktrina natin yan.
Yes, sir.
So, definitely. Kasi even during our yung World War II, kaya naman tayo nadamay. Dahil nga nasa strategic area tayo. Of that greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Spear Campaign of War Plan Orange na Japan. Kasi masasagasaan tayo. So ngayon naman, well, because of that, aside from yung Taiwan kasi is wala tayong magawa dyan. Kasi even in the international relations, kamo nga kanina, as far as the United Nations is concerned, and even us recognize that one China policy. So, hindi natin pwedeng pakialaman kung i-retake nila yung Taiwan. However, yung ating big brother, hindi niya pwedeng hindi tulungan yung isang brother niya na nangangailangan ng tulong niya. Otherwise, mapapahiya siya in the international community.
Okay.
Sabihin, no, kaya mo naman palang pabayaan yung umaasa sa'yo. Dami-dami mong pinangako. Well, even yung characteristics or ng leaders, that will also depend. Maaring iba yung thinking nung previous president, bagong presidente ngayon, yan ang isa pang delikado.
Yan sir, ang tanong ko siguro. Ang dati kasi ang bitaw niya, our is ironclad. No? Ironclad yung ginamit niyang word ng previous ano. Is it still ironclad? I mean, yung if there is that threat to us, will it still be ironclad na nandyan sila in the event?
We're not sure, especially if economics is in play.
Mm-hmm.
We're not really sure. Even them, hindi rin sila sigurado.
Okay.
Even them, hindi rin sila sigurado. So, kasi yung direction ng previous, I hope we are on the same pan,
yes, sir,
isa yung inisip natin. Yung previous na president, iba dun sa previous ngayon. Asa ngayon?
Yung present, yes sir. Yung
present. So,
nagbago.
Even yung Indo-Pacific Command, confused. Kung ano ba talaga mangyayari.
Yan lang.
Kasi iba noon yung sinasabi nila. So, as we are affected in a way.
Yes, sir. Okay. So, ngayon, sir, in that event, the worst scenario, what's our defense plan? Can we ask you, sir, ano bang stance natin dyan pagdating sa depensa ng ating bansa?
I cannot safely talk of kung anong plano ng ating armed forces. Kasi unang-una, wala na ako doon. It's more on a personal opinion. Well, we are prepared pagdating sa ganyan. But of course, we rely first on the on our
allied forces.
Of course, ang problema, even yung our ASEAN, yung ASEAN nations natin are divided also. Meron
yes, sir. Ang tanong ko, yung gray area is when does the Mutual Defense Treaty become anong magti-trigger sa kanya na magsasabing, oops, teka, tulungan nyo na kami. Parang ganun, sir, di ba? Medyo malaking area of question. Tama po ba?
Yeah.
Depende na sa interpretation. But it's nice to know now, I know for a fact that we're, as you have said, prepared tayo in those eventualities.
We can only be prepared, Joms. We may not be prepared at par with kung sakasakaling yung equipment ang pinag-uusapan. But if we have a strong reserve and citizen, yun ang kinakailangan natin. Kailangan natin ng awareness ng tao. Kahit naman may invade tayo kung buong Pilipino solid against them, wala rin sila makukuha. Well, maaaring inisip mo pa, no?
Yes, so,
we can start by awareness muna. Kasi ang hirap mangyari na within us, tayo even yung mga editorials natin, yung mga opinion makers natin, iba-iba yung iniisip, merong pro-China. Once na may ganun, ito mahirap. And part yan ng UFW nila.
Yeah, divided na tayo. So I think itong ginagawa is part of the information campaign na ginagawa nating aware yung ating Tomasian alumni community kung ano talaga ang sitwasyon, what's happening. And yun, on our end, sir, siguro, ano bang role ng Tomasian alumni sa atin, itong preparation natin to become aware of it, sir?
Well, yun nga, di ba, nabanggit ko na sa yan, paano natin may i-disseminate itong ICAD operations na nangyayari sa West Philippine Sea. Kasi naman, kapag one voice tayo na binoice natin ito sa international community, it will be the international community na mag-react against them. But the thing is, meron din silang effort na kung minsan inuunahan nila tayo na gumagawa ng issue against us, na tayo yung nag-abduct, so things like that. Anyway,
gentlemen,
yes, Aral.
Unfortunately, no, we are past 6 p.m. Any final words or final thoughts as far as internal or external security is concerned?
Well, as far as sa internal security natin, tuloy-tuloy lang sana yung good governance. Medyo plus yung project, medyo yung motivation dati ng mga nabubuhay lang naman yung ating Communist Party dahil sa kanilang armadong grupo. Pero pag wala ng armadong grupo, magiging futile na lahat ng efforts nila. Maingay na lang sila sa parliamentary, just like what is happening now. Hanggang ganun na lang sila. Hanggang ingay na lang sila. But that is relative sana.
Okay.
Tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung ating good governance. And then on the international side, yung awareness lang ng mga natin. For all we know, yung mga spies natin nandiyan na. Baka may mga estudyante nga tayo na nandiyan na. So, dapat even our faculties, dapat makapagpansa na tayo. Take the initiative na kapag may mga ganong suspicious, inform our authorities kaagad on their personalities, particularly sa UST community. Bahala na yung AFP or state authority intel baka pagbigay lang kayo ng information on bakit malalaman nyo naman yung characteristics ng mga spy. And meron na tayong mga samples doon sa north natin.
Yung mga by words, deeds, and actions.
Yes.
Makikita nila. So, Ralph, siguro, summarize natin. Ano ba?
Yes, sir.
Marami tayo natutunan. Napakahirap i-summarize lahat ng binigay sa atin, sir. Pero
for me, the key takeaway really is the whole of nation approach. No? Kagaya nga ng sabi ni General De La Cruz earlier, hindi kaya ng military alone in solving the internal security threats. No, we need the local government, good governance. Kailangan natin mag-provide ng education, trabaho, kung ano-ano pa sa ating mga kababayan. Dahil siyempre kung may hinanakit sila, yan yung number one o isa sa mga rason kung bakit sila naghihikayat na magrebelde. So for me, that's the major key takeaway of this discussion.
Sir, medyo mabilis ang oras. Primarily, Sir General De La Cruz, sir, we wish to thank you. We want to thank you for your time na nag-share po kayo ngayon. But more importantly, we want to thank you for the years of service na ginugol nyo talaga, a lifetime of service sa armed forces. One of the brilliant generals at the reason why bumaba naman talaga ang ating insurgency problem ay dahil din sa mga initiatives ni Sir Ferds. No? So maraming salamat sa inyo, sir. Okay. Siguro, yes, sir. Time went by so fast, Brother Ralph and Sir Crow.
So remember,
remember,
here at Bridges, we do not build walls, we build connections to reach out to one another. So we build bridges faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Mabuhay po tayo lahat. Yes,
isang point lang.
Opo.
I'm appealing to our alumni na nandito. As you can see, yung mga kasama natin sa screen is Jomar de la Peña and Ralph Alo. They are not military. However, as they are products of the ROTC, nandun sa kanila yung puso. So sana wag nating pigilan ang ating mga estudyante. Dapat nga na i-encourage nating mag-ROTC ang ating mga estudyante kasi we need that kind of spirit now. Kasi yun nga, even the threats to national security is not limited to war fighting alone. So we need our youth na magkaroon ng spirit through the ROTC program. And kayo ang aking model actually. So yun lang.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So the Tomasian alumni community, meron tayong role, no, in nation building, maging aware tayo sa mga nangyayari. If you want to go further, join the Reserve Force. At whether kung kayo'y doktor, any other specialization, kayo po ay may lugar sa ating Reserve Force, no, para makatulong po tayo. But in any other instance, we can always help as community builders, as peace builders, yung ating Tomasian values, iparating po natin sa mga geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. Yan po ang ating role bilang mga miyembro ng Tomasian communities. Magtulungan po tayong lahat para hindi tayo makonquer ng whether internal or external man. Yes. So again, lumipas na po ang oras. We wish to thank our sponsors, the UST Golden Cross and Sabre Alumni Association, the UST Alumni Association Incorporated, and also Dr. Carl Ibalita for helping extend the virtual reach of Bridges. Again, dear friends, Tomasian community, thank you for joining us today. Do watch Bridges again next Tuesday dito on the same Facebook page. Okay, sir. Maraming salamat. Our snappy salute to you, sir. At mabuhay po tayo lahat. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Magandang gabi po.
In homes and screens our lights unite, classrooms stretch beyond four walls. Through every challenge day and night, our faith and growth still calls. Parents guide with gentle hands, teachers walk each step inside, together building future lands where values never hide. Though paths may shift and seasons change, our hearts stay close, our goals arrange. A journey set by trust and care, a mission we all share. These are the bridges we create, from school to home, from heart to heart. Learning grows and values shape, in every role we play our part. Work in progress day by day. Hand in hand we find our way. Bridges of hope, bridges of grace, in this UST learning space. In every lesson, fear or light, we plant the seeds of truth and love. Guided by wisdom's gentle sight, inspired from above. The road ahead is still unknown, yet we're not walking alone. School and home, side by side, building virtues that abide. These are the bridges we create, from school to home, from heart to heart. Learning grows and values shape, in every role we play our part. Work in progress day by day. Hand in hand we find our way. Yeah, we're not walking alone. School and home side by side, building virtues that abide. These are the bridges we create, from school to home, from heart to heart. Learning grows and values shape, in every role we play our part. Work in progress day by day, hand in hand we find our way. Bridges of hope, bridges of grace, in this UST learning space.